Hello, and welcome to Real Person Reviews. I'm Sam, and I'm a real person. And today I want to talk to you about Donkey Kong 64 for the Nintendo 64. A few things up front here. Like always, there is a written review for this you can look at before, after, or instead of the video review. Just check the description to find a link to that. And I guess another thing just to mention is that while playing this game, I did not really have a chance to do the multiplayer this time around. So I haven't really done the multiplayer in years. Couldn't say a lot on that, but I try to look at it a bit, what I could do by myself anyways, to get a little perspective. That's one aspect where I can't really say a whole lot on, is the thing. But yeah, there's a lot here, a lot to say, and I think that I'd really recommend you going to the written one like I always do, but if you're here for the video, you just want to listen in and watch some of the gameplay, or just, turn me into a podcast and go look at other stuff, that's all fine. That's cool. It's whatever. Alright, I think that's a pretty good preface. Let's get to this, right? Okay. So Donkey Kong 64 is a game by Rare. It is when they were called Rareware on the Nintendo 64. In fact, it's a 3D platformer collect-a-thon. So it's kind of, the whole Rare wheelhouse here. This is the kind of thing that you would expect. And of course, it's Donkey Kong, which is a very popular Nintendo IP. That's a couple of big things coming together. This was an exciting game, to say the least. And, well, I guess the plot is somewhat simple. King K. Rool comes up and has this floating fortress, and he sails up to DK Isles, which I guess is where Donkey Kong and his friends live. Is it somehow in Donkey Kong Country or not? I don't know. But he goes, and he has this big machine ready. He's going to try to blast the island. I guess it's maybe implied he's going to kill them. Maybe he's just going to destroy the island. I don't know. But when he gets there, he ends up having mechanical problems. There's technical problems. Like, oh geez, and like the machine is not ready to go yet, it's not working, and the whole fortress thing is kind of stuck. So, in order to buy some time, K. Rool sends out the Kremlings to go and kidnap the other Kongs, all of the Kongs that are not Donkey Kong, and basically kidnap his friends and imprison them, and then steal all of his golden bananas from his banana hoard. That's basically the start of it. It's just to kind of, buy some time so he can get his machine running and have his master plan go through to finally get his vengeance on that Donkey Kong. And then as the player, you play as Donkey Kong. You'll go, and it's a 3D platformer, so you're going to do some running, jumping, swimming, attacking, all that good stuff. And there's a little tutorial in the beginning, so there's a little section where it'll kind of, give you a few levels to help you get hang of the basics, a few little stages and mini stages for that. And then you're brought out into DK Isle, the big hub world for the whole game, where you can get to all the different separate levels. And in this hub world, you'll find this a cave with this really large Kremling who is in a cage. He's locked away. Apparently, he's pretty clumsy, hence his name, K. Lumsy, and kept messing things up. So K. Rool put him in the cage and locked it. And now all the keys are guarded by his most fearsome guards, which are basically just the bosses in the game. So you have to go and try to beat those bosses and get those keys to help K. Lumsy. When you first agree to help him out, he then does his little dance thing, and he opens up the first level, and then you can go to the first level. And as you start coming back and bringing more keys to him, he starts doing the dance more and unlocking other levels, so you can get to more places and do more things from the hub world. Pretty simple premise there. When you get in the levels, also, it's a similar kind of idea that goes with a lot of the collect-a-thons, is you gotta get stuff to get stuff done. you got to go around and collect regular bananas, which you'll need to unlock the boss door at the end of the level at some point. And once you get enough bananas and unlock that, then the doors open, and then whichever Kong's face is on the door, that's the Kong that has to go and fight the boss. Beating the boss gets the key, bring it to K. Lumsey, you get the idea. There are also banana coins for you to collect, which you use to purchase upgrades and abilities and items. You can use it to get guns and weapon upgrades for those guns from Funky Kong. You use them to get life upgrades and instrument upgrades from Candy Kong, which you'll need those. And then you use coins also to get new abilities from Cranky Kong. Either for each individual Kong or for abilities for all Kongs. So that's where the coins come in, and some of the, upgrades and progression of the game is in there. So you'll need to collect those as well. There are also banana balloons you can pop to get some extra bananas. Bananas can be singular or in bunches. Balloons give you 10, bunches give you 5. Singular, of course, just 1. And you need to use your variety of skills and items. And of course, there's consumables as well that you need for certain things. Certain abilities will require the use of crystal coconuts, which you'll get. You can get oranges, which basically act as grenades. And of course, your ammo just goes towards your gun. You also get film for this camera that you get eventually, where you can then take pictures of these banana fairies. And doing so will give you a few little boosts every time you do it. Plus, it'll work towards unlocking bonuses in the mystery menu. So there's a lot of stuff. And there's also golden bananas here, which, you get the golden bananas, and that helps you unlock new levels, because when you can get to levels from getting those boss keys, but certain levels are still blocked off until you get so many golden bananas, meaning you have to actually still do stuff other than just trying to rush through all the bosses. So that's all kind of linked together and getting all the things so you can advance more. There's also blueprints you can get, which can net you a nice bonus. I won't spoil what that is, but you don't need to get all of them, but you can. And getting blueprints will also net you a golden banana if you turn it into Snide at Snide's HQ, which you might as well, then. It's another golden banana. And in every level, every Kong has their own stuff in there, but every Kong will have 100 total bananas. Whenever they get 75, they get a banana medal, so I guess they have a banana medal in the levels as well. 5 golden bananas, and 1 blueprint that they have to get. Also, there are 2 banana fairies, I believe, per level. And usually there's only one of these Kong battle paths which you go to, and basically they go to this little arena, and you have to survive an onslaught of enemies in a very small arena, fighting guys. And you'll get these crowns. And I don't know, I think they unlock something, I don't remember though. I think you need them at some point. And getting golden bananas can be as simple as, just going and I found this golden banana, and you get to it or whatever, you open a door and grab it. Or sometimes you have to do elaborate things like unlocking places, going to places, then getting into these mini-game barrels and playing a variety of different mini-games in order to try and net yourself a golden banana. And then once you start saving the other Kongs, you'll then start... basically, once you save one of the Kongs, there are 5 total. Once you save one, then all of their items appear on all the levels. So their stuff doesn't show up until you actually get them and unlock them. Each Kong has their own color-coded regular bananas, banana coins, banana balloons, blueprints, and their golden bananas aren't colored differently. They're still golden bananas, but only they can collect them. You'll also notice that there's certain switches that can only be done by using, a ground pound with the appropriate Kong with their face on it, a pad with their face on it, a barrel with their face on it. Probably want to talk to Cranky to figure out how to do those. And certain switches that require different projectiles, as each Kong, while they all run off the same ammo for all their weapons, each one uses a different projectile. So that's another little key component of how some of those switches work. So you need to keep switching back between these different Kongs to use all their different abilities, to get to other places, to unlock further things, and to get all the things in these levels to progress. That probably will mean a lot of switching out and changing around to other Kongs. Because even if you can get to other Kong's stuff, you can't pick it up if you're if you're not the appropriate Kong. So that's a big part of the whole collection and adventure and exploration part in these open-ended levels. Yes, a lot of mini games, and there are also a couple unlockable arcade games which you will need to beat, I believe, in order to beat the game. You need to do certain tasks within them. There is the original Donkey Kong arcade game, and then there's also Rare's own Jetpack. And you can even unlock these arcade games to play whenever in the menu, which I'll probably review them later on separately because I have them unlocked. But you'll see there. Or maybe I'll do it before this. Who knows when this video is going to come out, really? But I'm planning on reviewing those games as well. So if I already have those out, to check those out. If they're not, then you look forward to them. And really, that's just the main thrust of the game, is collecting stuff, exploring those levels, getting the things, moving forward. And you don't necessarily need to get every single thing in the game, though you will get rewarded if you do. You just need to get enough to get through, and ultimately you'll have, big, crazy boss fights and all this, and then big, epic battle with King K. Rool, and to see if you can actually beat that son of a bitch. That's pretty much the game, without going into crazy amounts of detail. And I like a lot of things about this game. It's a 3D platformer collect-a-thon adventure from Rare on the Nintendo 64. Obviously, I'm gonna like this game. But I don't know, the music is great. I like the visuals a lot. It looks very detailed. It's very colorful and vibrant. And there's a lot of details just in animations, and the way the Kongs look actually are pretty good in that they look more round. A lot of characters in this era kind of looked, very polygonal, and I feel like they did a good job making them look a bit more round and realistic. Realistic to a point, I guess. Just so they don't look super pointy or anything. I think they did a pretty good job making them look nice. And it's just really, I don't know. There's a lot of details in a lot of these things, like little animations, little cutscene things here and there. You get some cutscenes every time you get to a new level. You get a little thing to see how K. Rool is handling, this whole process and what's going on. And you get, you get to have a lot of fun little animations, just like the Kongs themselves do, just for idle animations and little details everywhere, and little secrets and everything that happen there. A lot of stuff you could easily miss if you're not really paying attention. And it's a lot of heart clearly went into this game, and I do really, really appreciate that. Because it gives it so much personality. It has so much personality and heart and charm. And also, Rare was great at that. Also, I don't know, it's really fun. There's a lot of fun stuff to do. It does get pretty challenging, but it's all pretty doable. Hell, if I can do it, anyone can do it. And there's a big variety of these mini games, and I like that. They reuse those mini games a bit, and some of the mechanics of the main game and everything. They reuse them a few times usually, but they get harder, so you have to get better at them. And I think that's a nice way to kind of keep the progression going as well, along with collecting all the things and seeing how things in the world are kind of changing around you. That's interesting. And damn, there's a lot of content, a lot of stuff to get, a lot of places to explore, a lot of thinking you gotta do. And it's fun that there's a lot of, there's multiple ways to approach certain scenarios, too. You go into a room and, I gotta kill all these guys, and you can maybe try, just go up and fighting them fist to fist, just to, conserve all your consumables, or you could maybe throw some of those oranges at them, or shoot some of your bullets at them. Maybe that'll make it go faster and be a little safer. Maybe you just want to play your song and be done with it and kill all the enemies on the screen, Who knows? It's interesting. There's some different ways of approaching stuff. And I like that some of the mini games also do use the same mechanics that the main game uses, like the thing like the Mad Maze Mall or whatever, where you go in there and you're running through the maze, you have to kill all the dudes in it, and then like get to the end. Some of the stuff like that too, where like it's just like you get to do stuff that's still built off the same mechanics, even though it is sort of like a mini game scenario thing. I like those, and I do think it's cool that there is a multiplayer mode that has a few options. Where there's like one where you go around and basically using your guns mostly, running around trying to kill each other, almost GoldenEye style, except obviously it's third person in multiplayer mode. And then there's also just the arena where you can go and fight each other like you would in the Kong battle thing. And like those are interesting to have there, and there's something to do if you have 2 to 4 players that want to do stuff together on it. It's nice that there's also that. And it's a very impressive game. And overall, it's really good. It's very good. But I can't really call it great. I hesitate to call it great. I certainly wouldn't call it a masterpiece. I mean, I think it's a bit shy of that. But great, while I can understand arguments for that, I got a few beefs with it for that. I think the main thing is that it doesn't feel like it has that last layer of polish on it to make it really shine. There's sometimes when I'm trying to do things and it feels like maybe it's hard to land in places where I feel like I should be easily able to judge my jumps. Sometimes it feels like the Kong doesn't really respond quite the same way that I want it to or that it did before. Sometimes, and like the hitboxes can be kind of wonky. Where it's like, I feel like I hit this enemy, but nothing happens. Or I feel like I'm really far away from this enemy, but they still manage to hit me. And sometimes I go flying way further and fly off edges and stuff when I get hit. And other times I don't do that, or the direction and stuff. And it feels like there's just a lot of things like that, little things that just don't feel great. And sometimes, they result in you making mistakes and having to deal with those mistakes, even though it wasn't really your fault. And that's a shame. I think that's a shame, because it's good stuff. Otherwise, like everything works. You can work around that. You can deal with it, but you shouldn't have to. It should just be a little bit tighter in a lot of those controls and those little parts there, that could really use that tweaking to make it a great game. I think if it just had that, I would probably say yes, it's great. Other things is that it can be a little tedious. That's a big one for people. I mean, I know a lot of people, at least I've heard a lot of people have told me that others have used collect-a-thon in a negative way. And I think it's a pretty good reason why. I mean, at the time this was released, I believe it had the most collectibles of any game. And, having 5 different characters that are all distinct and have personality and sizes and shapes and hitboxes and different little abilities to make them all feel really different, that's impressive. But the problem, I think, is that they don't necessarily use those abilities to get all their stuff. Like, there are times when, you're walking around, you see somebody's bananas, but you can't pick them up because you're not the correct Kong. And it's like, in something, for example, Banjo-Tooie, which came out a year after, you can even split up Banjo and Kazooie, but it's not like there are Banjo-only notes and Kazooie-only notes. As long as you can get to those notes and collect them, or get to the stuff and get it, you have it. It works, these are working together anyways. So, it doesn't really make sense that, you wouldn't just be able to pick up the bananas that are on the ground there. Why wouldn't you be able to? Because they're a different color? That's ridiculous. But, it's a game thing, and it's used as that. I just feel like it's kind of cheap that, you can't pick those up even though you're right there. It just feels kind of annoying that you have to go back to get those, even though you clearly could with this character if they were just tangible. And that and the balloons, the coins, and whatever. So that's a little annoying. You have to go back for that. I think the argument for it, though, having to go back to the tag barrel that many times and switch out for that, the argument for it is that, you can kind of use those bananas out in plain sight as like a path to, this is where, this character's activities probably are, is this way, so you want to have their trail of breadcrumbs leading over there. Also, I think there should be maybe a counter for all the coins you can get for the banana coins. In a level, there's not one, and it's weird because there's a counter for everything else. Like bananas, and this is stuff for the banana fairies, the bananas, the blueprints, the golden bananas. and the key, the Kong battle crowns or whatever. There's counters for all this shit, and not that, and not the fucking coins. Why not? So I never know if I've gotten all the coins or not in the game. I'll just never know. Because I'm spending them, and certain Kongs can spend them for upgrades for all Kongs. So you never really know unless you're trying to keep track of all that shit. Somehow. So that's a little annoying. I think the part that makes this extra tedious for me, and it's a complaint that I can't really say, I can't pin it on the game, it's not the game's fault, but with the color choices and everyone having stuff being color-coded, I'm colorblind, some kind of colorblind anyways, and I can't tell the difference, or I have trouble telling the difference between, like, the blue and the purple especially. A lot of times I go to a place with lanky stuff, and then I'll be like, oh, this was tiny stuff, like, I thought, like, or, like, if I'm neither of those Kongs, and I go there with someone else, and like, oh, shit, let's like lanky stuff, and I go bring lanky over there, it's like, I still can't grab it, because it's tiny stuff. God damn it. And I have to go back again, get tiny, and then come back over there, or whatever. It's like, that's extra frustrating for me. Even sometimes with Donkey Kong stuff, and Chunky Kong stuff, because Chunkies are like a really bright lime green, sometimes can kind of look like yellow, when I'm not the appropriate Kong, of course, when I'm not either of those Kongs. So Diddy's are the only ones I really could see that well, even those are kind of hard to see sometimes, just from the backgrounds and stuff, too. Not to mention, you go underwater and you mix blue with everything, sometimes it just looks like you can get all of the blue things, no matter who you are sometimes, and it makes, red stuff look purple. Like when they're intangible, they have like kind of transparent, so it's like the blue stuff looks purple, yellow stuff looks green, blue stuff looks blue, purple stuff looks bluer, anyways. So like it's kind of a mess with that, and that's more of a problem for me and people with that issue. But it is there, and it does make the game a little more tedious. So I can see, I don't know. That's just the thing for me, I guess, to kind of explain. Maybe that explains a bit more why I feel the way I do about the tediousness of this game. Yeah, I don't know. That's just me. Might just mostly be me, even. I don't know. If it is, I'll shut up. That's fine. And I don't know, beyond that, and there's nothing else that's like too terrible. I can, if there is a detail that I'm not thinking of right now, off the top of my head, I guess. The thing that I think is I guess something I kind of have to mention is that the DK wrap. Oh, before that, quick, the expansion pack. That was another thing I keep forgetting. You need the expansion pack for this game, because there's a bug that was with it that they couldn't fix, and so they just had to, make it use the expansion pack, and they had to bundle it with the game. What sucks, though, I guess, is like, necessarily, like, I don't know, if you don't have the expansion pack, getting one, because, it's not going to come bundled with it now, probably, unless you're getting it in the box with all the stuff. That's probably going to cost you more anyways. Expansion pack is like, it kind of sucks. You need to have that just to play the game at all. If you have Majora's Mask or Perfect Dark, you probably already have the expansion pack. I don't know that they're that expensive necessarily to get, but that is kind of a, one of the few unfortunate games where it's like, if you don't have an expansion pack, well, you're not going to be able to play that game even if you get it, right away. You have to wait until you get the pack, so that's always a little bit of a bummer. The DK wrap is something I have to bring up because everyone says it's terrible. I don't think it's that bad. It's kind of catchy. It's stupid. I'll give you that. It's stupid. But I think probably the worst aspect of the DK rap is not that it's a bad rap and that it's kind of dumb, but it's really the worst part about the DK rap is that it's the most remembered thing about the game, pretty much. I mean, there are people who haven't even played this game know the DK rap, and they do not like it genuinely. They like it ironically, for the most part. So that's not that great of a thing to have for your game, but it's not terrible. Just don't let the rap convince you that it's crap. It's very good. Donkey Kong 64. I think I've had this. I think we might have had 2 copies at one point. I don't know which one this is, but it's a little beat up on the front there. Whatever, it's mine. I'm not going to sell it or something. But yeah, it's a very good game. I can see the argument for it being great, but I just think it's give it a very good. It's probably worth, I would say, $30 to $35. I mean, there's so much content in here, and yes, you might have to get an expansion pack if you don't have one yet. But you consider you can play this, Majora's Mask, and Perfect Dark with an expansion pack. Not such a bad investment. And yeah, the game itself, I'd say like $30 to $35 is a decent price, and for less, obviously, if you can get it cheaper, why not? But I think that's probably like about as much as I say it's worth. A lot of content here. If you're into the Donkey Kong series, I think this is definitely worth checking out because it is a unique one that, we haven't seen a game like this, really before in the Donkey Kong series, and we haven't had one like it since. And that's kind of a shame, but it makes it unique, I guess. And it's also, it may not be Donkey Kong Country, it may not be original Donkey Kong, but it is a pretty interesting way to use Donkey Kong, and it's a pretty fun game. If you're into 3D platformers and collect-a-thons, especially from this era, also check it out. And if you're a Nintendo 64 fan, you probably already have this, but if you don't, you definitely should get it. The box, I remember seeing the picture of the box. It's like says apparently this is the yellow collector's cartridge. I believe all the cartridges are yellow. I don't know why they said that, but that's how it kind of stands out, because there weren't a lot of yellow cartridges for the system. I don't know if there are others or not, honestly, but there might be that I don't know about. So yeah, check it out. I definitely would recommend getting it. And for questions at the end of this, which was your favorite Kong? Mine was probably Chunky. I always like playing as Chunky. I mean, Donkey he's a cool guy. He's really cool. And he's grown on me a lot more. But Chunky, I think, was fun because, he wasn't the main, character you could play as all the time. He's only really in this game. He's a big dude, he's really strong, and he's really funny. So, I don't know. I that's what I would say. What's yours? Leave it in the comments. Again, written review in the description. And any other games you want to see, I don't know. Let me know. And that kind of stuff in the comments and whatever. And have fun with it. And, I don't know. And I don't know, if you start playing this game, it'll get you addicted faster than you can say, "Oh, banana." That was a good line, right?